Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good
Yes,
afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So, welcome back again. Let us start the third session today. Actually, we have in the first day and today, last two sessions, we have discussed about FLN and effective lesson planning. As the name of this course is FLN and effective lesson planning and pedagogical approaches. So, as NEP suggested for holistic and joyful learning in primary classes, different pedagogical approaches should be followed. And these pedagogies are not new for us. As we have discussed earlier, also, the these pedagogies are already we have read and we have well acquainted with these pedagogies during our teachers training course like JBT, DIET, or BIDL. So just it is a orientation program like just revise our knowledge and our understanding and just this pedagogy how to uh, execute these pedagogical strategy or approaches in our classroom situation. One by one we are going through different kind of pedagogies, so let us start with the experiential learning methods. uh, you might have read in the NEP documents that many times the experiential learning, and there in NISTA program also one batch of one course is there for experiential learning. Yes or no? I would like that you all must have gone through that training also. So let us start with experiential learning methods by our respected training associate Sri D. Vikram Kumar Barma. Barma sir, over to you, sir.
thank you, sir. A very good afternoon to one and all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
Fine. So another post-lunch session today by me. Hope all of you are ready
Yes, sir.
for active participation in this session. So before we actually start the session, let us refresh ourselves through a small quiz. Shall we go for a quiz?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So now, unlike yesterday, I will not be asking any questions. I will be sharing a link in the chat box here and in the WhatsApp group as well. Just open the link of that. The link is of the quizzes and try to join through that link. Then we will start the online quiz. मैंने WhatsApp ग्रुप में और chat box में भी link दे दिया है. Please click on the link. It will take you to the quizzes.com site. वहां पर आप अपना Gmail ID से लॉगिन हो सकते हैं. Let me see how many are joining. It is a small quiz of 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. It will not take more than that. Yes, people are joining. Nice. 4 participants already joined. If there is some issue with the net connectivity speed and all, you may be finding it difficult. Otherwise, it is very easy to join. And most of you might have used this already. It is not new to many of us. Just take 1 minute to join. Okay, I'm sharing the link once again. Or there is another method. If you're not able to join, you can directly go to Google Chrome and type joinmyquiz.com. When you type it, a site will open and you can put the joining code. I'll give the joining code also to join the quiz. Yes, wonderful. 10 people already joined. Yeah, this is a small quiz of 15 questions. All are MCQs, multiple choice questions. Just go through and you have to answer. Once I start the quiz, you will be able to start the quiz. Yes, this is how the screen looks. Around 15 people joined. Okay. Okay, let's. I'm going to start. Let others try to join. Meanwhile, you'll have the quiz. Once I start, every question you'll be getting 20 seconds to answer. Try to finish the quiz as early as possible. Yes, still more people are joining.
सर क्वेश्चन नहीं आया है.
I'll start the quiz, sir. Now I'll click on start.
Okay.
Then the quiz will start. Okay, let us start. Almost 20 participants joined. Okay. Yeah, I have started. Now you can start answering. And we will see the position of participants on the screen.
सर्च क्विज़ लाइब्रेरी इंटर कोड कौन सा कोड है क्या है
Code I have given in the chat box. If anybody is having doubt about the code, 966133.
कोड क्या है? कोड 966 उसके बाद
सर कोड एक बार फिर से बताएं.
966133 is the code to join the game.
133
In the chat box also 966133. 39 participants are playing the quiz. Right now, Vidisha madam is leading. Yes, you have 30 seconds left. Wonderful. 10 seconds more. Almost 34 participants have joined the quiz. Right. Yes. Time up. Yeah, let us look at the leaderboard now. First position, Mr. Rohit Roy, and second, Ms. Monica Gupta, and third by Vidisha madam. Congratulations to all of you. So that was just a small activity to refresh, to make you feel fresh after this, after lunch. Hope you all enjoyed. Just like children, you are competing
Yes, very
to
interesting, sir.
answer more and more questions.
Exciting also, sir.
Very
It
nice.
was exciting.
Yeah, yeah. And
Good one.
Sir,
of course,
sir, thank you, sir, for conducting such beautiful quizzes. But it takes much
Yeah.
time to understand it, sir.
yeah, yeah.
Time, sir.
Some, yes, net
Almost the
connectivity.
answer is correct, but the time is a question
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
We should not understand. But we have to do very fast.
yeah, yeah. That is why speed and accuracy and internet speed also. Not only your speed, net connectivity speed also matters.
My
The
internet
positions are
speed was
decided
too
by
low.
that. Yeah, fine. Thank you very much for participating actively. Almost 34 teachers could connect. Others may be having some problem with connectivity. So that was just like a refresher. Now let us go to the today's topic, that is holistic learning, experiential learning. Uh, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Let me present once again the slide. Okay. Yeah, fine. So this session is about experiential learning and holistic. Why we have joined this holistic term with experiential? Can anyone throw some light on this?
So when we go for experiential learning, it brings a total development in the child,
Yes,
not
madam.
only by
Samita madam.
knowledge.
Yes, exactly correct, Samita madam. Thank you. So
Thank
whatever
you, sir.
learning is taking place through this experiential method, it becomes holistic. Let us see how. And by the end of this session, the objectives are we all will be able to define holistic learning as well as experiential learning. and describing the characteristics of holistic learning, what are the salient features, and explaining the stages of experiential learning process. It is a process through which experiential learning occurs. We will be describing, explaining the stages, and listing the benefits of experiential learning. Why do we talk about learning all the time? Even the NAP document lays much stress on experiential learning, and give suitable examples of experiential learning activities for given topics. Now, after this session, today during the group work, we are going to have some work on identifying some topics where experiential learning activities can be implemented, can be conducted. So let us now start with the holistic learning. It is a process that brings every part of a student together. Just now, Somita madam told, all the three domains are taken care of. So that kind of learning is called holistic learning, and ultimately, whatever learning takes place in the classroom or outside the classroom, it should be holistic. It should cater to the learner's emotions, intellect, creativity, imagination, as well as the body. So that is what is holistic learning is all about. Let us see the features of holistic learning. Holistic learning is experiential in nature. It involves experience when absorbing information or being introduced to new concepts. It is personalized. Now, learn independently and work at their own pace. It gives much scope that personalized instruction learning takes place at the pace of the child. It is self-guided. Now, self-directed learning, as we told, personalized, curiosity building is observed in this, self-confidence is built. So this is having a lot of advantages, and it considers the community. It is beyond the four walls. Not necessarily every activity is conducted outside the classroom, but there is a scope that most of the learning of the child takes place within the four walls or beyond the four walls. And it includes socio-emotional learning also. Here, when we talk about socio-emotional learning, which domain is we are talking about? Cognitive,
Effective.
affective domain. Exactly. Affective domain is scattered. So this is considered as complete learning experience, and it is interdisciplinary in nature. Interdisciplinary connection between more than one subject, and focused on formative assessment. Right from day one, we have been talking about product is not important, but the process is more important whenever we are talking about teaching learning process. So now let us see what is experiential learning. A process of making meaning out of direct experience. Child is given some experience directly, child is exposed to something, the child will experience it and he will learn something. So it is completely opposite to what we carry out in the classroom in a very traditional way, the chalk and talk method or the lecture method. And it is a hands-on approach to education that moves beyond the classroom and provides a more involved way of learning. Definitely, when you talk about experiential learning, more degree of involvement of a child is observed. So here two things happen when we talk about experiential learning. Personalized reflection about an experience. When the child is having some experience, going through some experience, he will reflect on it. Reflective practices, the practices जो हम कर रहे हैं. At the end of the day, we are sharing a link for reflective practices. What's happening there? You are provided some experience throughout the session, and you reflect on that. The pros and cons of each and every session you reflect on, and the learning is concretized. And formulation of plans to apply learning to other contexts. First, the child undergoes some experience. Next, he reflects on it. He thinks about it, what is good, what is correct, what went wrong. Then he formulates his own principles. And the emphasis is always on the process. Now, David Allen Cobb, an American psychologist and educationist, proposed a cycle, experiential learning cycle in the year 1984. This is how it looks like. There are 4 stages in this experiential learning cycle. Now, every experience the child undergoes is related to this cyclic process. Now, can you tell me where exactly the child's experience starts here? At which stage?
Concrete experience.
Concrete.
Yes. So the child is experiencing first. He is undergoing some experience. He is exposed to some experience. So concrete experience. Then comes reflective observation. After the child experiences that, he will reflect on it. He will think about it. He will study the pros and cons. He will analyze it. Higher order thinking skills are addressed here. And then comes abstract conceptualization. Then he will be learning from the experience and he will form some concepts. Okay, this happened because this was done like this. इस तरह से हमने किया था, इसीलिए इसका result ये आया है. So like that, abstract conceptualization will be there. That will be followed by active experimentation. This is our goal. Child should be able to actively experiment on his learning. Then only transfer of learning takes place. Transfer of learning तभी होता है जब active real life situation में और actual situation में उसको implement करता है, experience करता है. So at this point, let us just see a small video which tells us about Kolb's experiment cycle of experiential learning. Is the audio okay? Sound?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll present once again. Yeah.
Any learner is introduced to a new
Now can you listen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
let us play it again. Now it is okay.
Concrete learning is simply when any learner is introduced to a new experience or relooks at a past experience differently. Reflective observation is when a learner is prompted to reflect on the experience from their personal bias. Abstract conceptualization is when a learner forms new ideas or modifies the existing ideas based on their reflection. And finally, active experimentation is when the learner applies the ideas formed to their surroundings. It is simply called do, reflect, analyze, apply.
So this is what in simple terms do. First, actually the child does the work, does the activity. Then he reflects on the pros and cons of that. Then he analyzes how concepts can be formed, and then he will be applying it in another situation, similar situation. Then the experiential learning cycle is complete, and this goes on. Now this will not end at application stage. Again, the child will be having some other experience of the same task, and that will be continued
in a continuous cycle and not a sequence.
Wow, that sounds interesting. But Master Coach, how can this learning help us better our classroom engagement?
The
How it
first
is
step
helpful in
is to
student
understand that our learners have different learning styles.
Now see, a very important point here, learners are having different learning styles. So there is no theory that one size fits all or one kind of teaching fits all. It should be customized because there are children with different learning styles in a classroom. Now let us see what are the 4 different learning styles, how the children learn in the classroom.
But most of the time in our classrooms, we unconsciously focus only on some learners. Broadly, we can group our learners into 4 types based on their learning styles. Diverging learners look at things from different perspectives. They have strong imagination, are emotional, and enjoy working in groups. They fall between concrete experience and reflective observation. Assimilating learners prefer clear and concrete information. They can analyze and logically format information in depth. They are more interested in concepts than in people. They fall between abstract conceptualization and reflective observation. Converging learners enjoy problem solving. They love working with practical issues and experimenting with newer ideas. They fall between abstract conceptualization and active experimentation. Accommodating learners enjoy practical application of ideas. They get excited with new challenges and solve problems spontaneously. They fall between concrete experience and active experimentation.
This is so amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Okay. So, if you plan in such a way that all the 4 kinds of learners are taken care of in your classroom, then we can say that experiential learning is taking place and learning will be concrete and will be retained for a longer period of time. Now let us come to the some of the examples of experiential learning. जब हम experiential learning की बात करते हैं, child को experience provide करना है, child अपने आप उसमें से कुछ concept सीखेगा, reflect करेगा उस अपने experience पे और कुछ concretize करेगा concepts को या learned things को. Now what are a few examples? Field observations or trips, surveys, simulations, internships, mock markets, or model making. Now, when we are giving a few examples, these are only a few examples. There are many more methods that are directly, they can be called as experiential learning methods. But these methods, when they are put into practice in a proper way, proper planning, then only they can be turned into experiential methods. अब ये हो सकता है सर्वे आपने दिया है, सर्वे बहुत मैकेनिकल तरीके से हो रहा है, चाइल्ड का इन्वॉल्वमेंट बहुत कम है, पेरेंट्स कर रहे हैं, कुछ डाटा कलेक्शन ऐसे है, तो ये एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग नहीं होगा. तो whatever activity or method we are adopting under experiential learning strategy, it should be planned in such a way that it actually provides first-hand experience to the child. For example, field observation or trips. Rupalika madam, can you throw some light on this field observation or trips? How you can use in your teaching learning as experiential learning method?
Yes, sir. We can conduct excursions. It is there in our curriculum also in primary sections. Yearly once we take the children for excursion. So suppose we are visiting a zoo, then children will see the different animals, and then teachers can explain about those animals, and they have the idea about those animals. They know the names, they know the sounds of animals, so they can relate also. Yes. So it is one kind of experiential learning. We can take the students to the garden also. It is very easy. We can take them to the garden also. We can show them the different kinds of leaves, their patterns. They can see different kinds of flowers, their colors, and the names of flowers. So these are very easily affordable field trips we can conduct. We can conduct such.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Rupalik, madam. Now, field trip, when we are talking about field trip, madam gave a beautiful example that all of us do in the school. We will be taking the children to the school garden, and there what happens is, when a teacher takes children to a school garden or park, children park, and the teacher will be telling the children about different kinds of plants, showing the plants and all, that is activity method. The child is actively involved, he is listening, he is watching, senses are involved in that. But actually, if you want that particular activity to be experiential in nature, you have to go beyond that. Let the children collect some leaves, feel the texture, see the shape, or just to take out a small grass plants, see the roots, feel, then it will be much more experiential in nature, this activity. Same activity, it depends on how we plan. If the teacher takes the children out into the school garden, teacher will take out some plants and show to them and tell them about herbs, shrubs and trees. That is one way of conveying the content. The other way is the child himself will be touching, observing, analyzing, which is much more experiential in nature. Now coming to surveys. Survey is also one of the experiential methods, but it should be properly planned. Vidisha madam, will you throw some light on surveys? Vidisha madam, are you online?
Yes, sir.
Yes, madam. Surveys.
सर मैंने कुछ सर्वेस बच्चों से कराए थे. जैसे they were asked to visit a nearby pond विद देयर पेरेंट्स, और वहाँ के फ्लोरा और फौना को ऑब्जर्व करने के लिए बोला था, फोटोग्राफ्स लाने के लिए बोला था कि अगर आपको वहाँ पे कुछ दिख रहा है दैट इज पोल्यूटिंग द वाटर, तो वो भी आप इसको रिपोर्ट करेंगे। एक मैंने कराया था सर सर्वे, दैट दे हैड टू टॉक टू मिल्कमैन और वेजिटेबल वेंडर्स, और उनसे सारी बातें पता करनी थी। तो इससे बच्चों को काफी अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस मिला सर।
Yes, first-hand experience. The reason why I asked about this surveys to Vidisha madam, because I have seen a beautiful video that was submitted by her, which contains the details of how the children visited the local lake and studied about pollution. Very nicely explained about the plants that are growing as weeds on the water bodies. They are occupying the water bodies, about the water pollutants and all. I have seen a very wonderful video with Isha madam. That is the reason why I asked about survey. That is the way actual survey takes place. And as madam told, when you are assigning a task of taking up survey, that should be under proper supervision, because it depends on the nature of survey they are going to conduct. If they are going to conduct a survey on water simply in the school compound, that is a method. And if they are asked to go to nearby water body and do the survey, that should be under the supervision of either a teacher or the parents. That is how madam carried out this. So that depends on what kind of experience we are providing to the children under surveys. Then simulations. Anybody will throw some light on simulations? What exactly are they?
Yes,
Yes,
through
Mamta madam.
simulations, actually we mimic the things which we generally can't see properly in our real life. For example, we can take the digestive system. So with the help of the videos, the animations, we can properly show how our digestive system works,
Yes.
because we can't see that properly without this in our practical life.
Yes. So those things, those concepts which cannot be directly shown to the children, or the children cannot have first-hand experience. Another wonderful example of simulations is you have a chapter Anita in space. Not Anita, Sunita in space. Yes, class 5 EVS, I think, Sunita in space. Now, you may be talking about the things in the space, how about gravity, gravitational force, lack of gravitational force, and all. You may be showing videos. So that simulating videos will give actual picture. Now, like field trips, we cannot actually take them to any such places. So when you provide the simulations to the students, another example, while learning driving in a driving school, how it starts. Simulations are given, simulations are there, the learners will be sitting in a room. Yes, Pankaj sir, please.
सर इसमें एक नया टेक्नोलॉजी आया है, वो जिसको हम लोग वीआर और एआर इफेक्ट कहते हैं,
Yes, yes,
वर्चुअल
augmented
रियलिटी
reality.
और ऑगमेंटेड
Yes,
रियलिटी के ऊपर।
yes.
तो इसके थ्रू सुनीता इन स्पेस के चैप्टर में ही मैंने एक वीडियो बनाया था, मैं कभी एक शेयर करूंगा ग्रुप में, जिसमें मैंने एक जो रॉकेट है, कैसे रॉकेट को हम पहचान सकते हैं, स्पेस में जाने के बाद कैसे सैटेलाइट वर्क करता है, वीआर और एआर टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ मैंने एक वीडियो बनाया था, मैं बाद में उसको शेयर करूंगा। तो इससे भी हम लोग ये एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग में या क्लासरूम में भी जो चीजें नहीं है, आईपैड के साथ उसको कनेक्ट करके VR और AR टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ भी इसको अचीव कर सकते हैं।
Yes, sir. That is wonderful example of the simulations nowadays. Using the AR apps and all, there are several apps. Android phone में भी आप download करके उनको use कर सकते हैं. The children are very much interested to see such classes. They are bringing the wild animals into the classroom. That is nothing but a simulation. So please do share the video after the session in the group so that all will have a look at it. And now comes internships. Internships are one of the experiential learning methods that are used generally for the higher classes. When it comes to vocational studies, it is told that the children of class 6 to 8 will be doing some internships. They will be actually involved in some vocation like carpentry or electrical work and all. So through such internships, they will be having first-hand experience. They will be handling things directly under the guided supervision of the instructors, and they will be learning concretely. Now come to mock markets. ये हमने क्लास में बहुत ट्राई करते हैं. कोई सब्जेक्ट, कोई एग्जांपल मॉक मार्केट्स किस तरह से करते हैं हम क्लास में? मॉक मार्केट को रिक्रिएट करते हैं हम क्लास में.
जी सर, जैसे कभी कभी ओकेजन पे हम फेयर ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं, उसमें डिफरेंट डिफरेंट वेंडर्स बनाते हैं, या फिर क्लासरूम में भी वेजिटेबल मार्केट ऐसे बना के बच्चों को फॉल्स मार्केट प्ले करने के लिए मोटिवेट करते हैं, ताकि वो रियल लाइफ सिचुएशन से खुद को कनेक्ट कर सके और दे कैन लर्न बाय प्लेइंग.
Yes, it's fair. Children fair we organize. Some years ago we used to have bal melas also in schools, where the children will be making some handicrafts or small anything, and they will be putting up some stalls in the school. Children and parents will be coming and they will be purchasing those wonderful things. So by this activity, mock market, the children will be having direct experience of how the selling and purchasing takes place. And not only that, why we call this as an experiential learning is the children also will have experience of being a shopkeeper, being a seller, how they feel when they all the things that are put on display are sold within less time and they get money, or how they feel at the end of the day the things from them are not purchased. तो यहाँ पर एक effective domain की बात आ जाती है. So actually the children relive the situation of a shopkeeper or a vendor. So this is one of the
This
beautiful
also including value generation.
yes values also. So they when they are reliving the situation, they actually understand what happens with the vendors or shopkeepers who sit in the marketplace throughout the day to sell their commodities. Now, model making. Now, model making, when you speak about model making, you just give some project of, okay, make a model of a kacha house or a pakka house and bring. That is a kind of project, giving a project. But is it actually experiential learning if you ask the child to make a pakka house or a kacha house and bring? Or how can you uh, guide the children in model making to make it more experiential? Experiential किस तरह से हो सकता है?
So we can arrange the materials and choose the model which are easy to make in class, and we can supervise the children and help them whenever they need. And in group activity, we can give them the project which they have to complete in the school under our guidance only.
Yes, that is one way. And if you are giving them to make some model, if they are working models, actual working models, the child will be grasping the concept of working very easily. For example, if you talk about rainwater harvesting, class 5, I think we have concept of rainwater harvesting. A chapter is there in class 5 EVS where rainwater harvesting is highlighted. Now, if you give a project to a child to make a rainwater harvesting structure, if the child simply makes a structure showing a house and all, that is a model making. But if you want to make it experiential, the first step is that it should be a working model. If the child is able to make the terrace properly, where the water is collected and the water through a connection of a pipe, it is stored in the underground tank. The child is able to show that process. That is experiential. And the same thing after learning from here, when the child is able to observe and understand and promote that kind of structures at home, in the neighborhood. The child tells the neighbors or at home about when they are building a house, let us connect a pipe from the terrace to an underground water collection tank, which will help in recharging the groundwater. That is for experiential. Minerval sir, please. Conservation. Yes. Working models. Yes. Working models provide much more experiential learning. Yes, hands-on experience, and the learning is uh, retained for a long when such learning happens, lifelong learning. So these are a few
Yes.
examples. And now criteria for choosing an activity for experiential learning. Now whatever activity we choose, we should be able to judge whether it is a simple activity or an experiential activity. कुछ हम class में activity करा रहे हैं. So we have taught a poem in class 3, the Yellow Butterfly chapter. And after the story, we tell children, okay, take out paper, now draw some yellow butterfly, color it and show it. That is an activity where the child will understand that the butterfly, shape of a butterfly, it is yellow in color. But it doesn't actually mean it is experiential. So there are some criteria when we are selecting an activity to make it experiential in nature. The content. What is the content that you are dealing with? Learning outcome. What is the learning outcome you are keeping in mind to achieve at the end of this course of study, and the level of students. As I told, level of students, as Vidisha madam explained about the water survey of water pollution nearby. So level of the students she has taken it for class 5. Wonderfully, they have conducted this activity. So level of students should be kept in mind while assigning some experiential activity. And if these things are taken care of, there are many benefits of experiential learning in the classroom, as it increases motivation and engagement. Naturally, when the child is having hands-on experience, child is actually involved. He is no more a passive learner here. So motivation is at peak. It is engaging learning, joyful and engaging learning, and lot of brain activation, cognitive, affective, psychomotor, तीनों का यहाँ पर cater हो जाता है. And making mistakes becomes a natural part of learning process. When the child is actually doing under supervision, the child is making mistakes, reflecting on it. Coles का वो cycle याद कीजिए. Doing something, reflecting on it, and again he is trying to do. So making mistakes is also there is a scope, and it builds social emotional skills. Affective domain की बात आती है, ये भी इसमें दिया गया है. मल्टी सेंसरी अप्रोच है. All the senses or most of the senses are involved in such activities. Engages emotions. Preparation for real life, because most of the activities are connected to real life. Experiential learning में जो भी activity करते हैं connected to real life, and they increase. Just now हमने बात की है, increases learning retention, and higher order thinking skills जो है इसमें बहुत अच्छी तरह से cater हो जाती है. Now let us take an example. Class 5 EVS, preparation of aam papad or mamidi tandra. It is called mamidi tandra in Telugu, aam papad in Hindi. So there is a chapter in class 5 EVS, mangoes round the year. And what is the theme of this chapter? On which theme it is based? EVS has some themes.
So the things which we preserve throughout the year, which we can't have in every season.
Yes, that is the essence of this, how things are preserved, how food wastage can be avoided. So activity of preparing Mamidi Tandra, there are different methods of handling this activity. This actually is given in the textbook. You show the pictures, let them read the textbook and explain. That is a very conventional way, traditional way of teaching. Next level comes when you show a video how actually the Mamidi Tandra is prepared in the villages of Andhra Pradesh or any other places, a documentary. Children will be much more interested. Now taking it to the next level, how are you going to plan it in an experiential way? To make this activity more experiential, no video, nothing.
A few steps which don't need much, like the many days to complete. We can do the steps in the class only.
Yes. So
and
we
if
can
possible,
get.
then
Yes, we can get the material, and actual process can be done in the classroom by the children under the guidance of teacher. It is clearly given what are the ingredients that are required, why those ingredients are added, why this pulp after mixed with the jaggery, why is it dried in sun. When the children actually do this in the classroom and outside the classroom, they understand that they see the difference. If the pulp is not dried in sun, if it is kept in the classroom, what happens? And that which is dried in the sun for a day, what happens to it on the next day? So the actual concept, वहाँ पर जो concept हमें उन्हें समझाना है, without any formal teaching, at the end of this activity, they will be coming to know. इस तरह से preserve करते हैं, इस तरह से बनाते हैं, concept तो आ ही जाता है, hands-on experience. Then they compare. फूड आइटम्स जल्दी स्पॉइल किस लिए हो जाते हैं, ये और ये सन में जो ट्राई किया था क्यों स्पॉइल नहीं हुआ है. सो दिस इफ यू कंडक्ट सच एक्टिविटी इट विल बी मच मोर एक्सपीरियंशियल नेचर. एंड अनदर एग्जांपल लेट अस टेक, जस्ट मॉक मार्केट्स की बात हो रही थी. क्लास 2 मैथ्स में गिव एंड टेक एक टॉपिक है जिसके लिए आप छोटा सा एक्टिविटी प्लान कर सकते हैं. नाउ as Rajesh sir was giving example that a teacher planned the activity very well. In yesterday's class he gave an example. if you give 20 rupees note to a vendor, vegetable vendor, and you have purchased vegetables for 15 rupees and 5 rupees you should get back. The teacher expected that the shopkeeper will be giving 5 rupees. There is no change. What happens then? What was the answer the teacher got? That the
There's a Google Pay.
yes,
for
Google Pay
like
wala
that.
aapko yaad hai. Yes. So this is how children practically whatever they see, whatever they undergo, whatever they experience outside the classroom also, they will be able to remember. They remember very well. Google Pay करने से ये change चिल्लर का जो बात है वो problem आता ही नहीं है. Like this, if you arrange something, and when the child is, as I told you, when the child has become a vegetable seller here, he will be literally stepping into the shoes of the vegetable seller, isn't it? So
Yes.
apart from learning addition, subtraction, he will be learning many more things because this is an experiential learning activity. Another example, a topic, Baswas farm in class 4 EVS. This topic tells us about the steps in agriculture, process of cultivation of onion plants in particular. So when the same thing is done through experiential method, why don't we ask the children to grow a small kitchen garden or a small garden in the school? I hope some of you are doing this. Yes, school gardens are maintained by primary children. They actually go to the school garden by their turn. They have weekly timetable which class will be going. They will be involved in preparing the land, taking care of the plants, watering them, harvesting something is there, harvesting. So hands-on experience, and they will be feeling the actual conditions involved in making the cultivation successful, how the climates affect. When you read about this in textbook, they learn, but they actually grow something and the climate is not favorable. There is a heavy rain. Does the garden, the plants get washed away? Then they come to understand directly what happens with the farmer if the climatic conditions are not favorable. Experiential learning. Another example, कक्षा पहली में जो हिंदी में रसोई घर वाला जो है, उसमें क्या है, इसको एक्सपीरियंशियल आप कैसे बना सकते हैं? एक छोटा सा ये है कि जो औजार, जो चीजें हम प्रयोग में लाते हैं रसोई घर में या बाहर, इन चीजों के बारे में छोटा सा एक्सरसाइज है. तो इसको एक्सपीरियंशियल हम कैसे बनाएंगे?
सर जब बच्चे घर पे होते हैं, जैसे सीजर वगैरह, ढक्कन, छिल्ली, जो किचन की चीजें हैं, वो अपने मतलब जो उनके पेरेंट्स हैं, जो फैमिली मेंबर्स हैं, उनको ऑब्जर्व करें कि वो क्या क्या कर रहे हैं और कैसे कैसे कामों के लिए उन चीजों को यूज कर रहे हैं.
क्ले मॉडलिंग की हेल्प से भी हम इन सब औजारों को उनको बनाना या उनका शेप्स वगैरह उनको सिखा सकते हैं बाय द मेथड ऑफ क्ले मॉडलिंग.
कुछ टॉयज भी आते हैं सर, जो ऐसे मॉडल टाइप होते हैं, जैसे फ्रूट्स वेजिटेबल्स कट करते हैं.
किचन टॉयज का सेट आता है और मेनी थिंग्स. एंड खासकर ये जो है कक्षा पहली के स्तर की है ये एक्टिविटी. तो जो whenever we are providing such experience, it should be strictly under the guidance of a teacher or a parent, so that the child can actually feel the objects. When you talk about the many objects, the child might not have seen. ये गुलेल क्या होती है आजकल के बच्चे जानते ही नहीं हैं. बहुत सारे बच्चे घर में चाकू, कैंची, ढक्कन वगैरह तो देखते हैं, गुलेल तो बहुत कम बच्चे देखते हैं. तो एक्चुअली उनके कैसे पता चलता है क्या साइज होता है, उसमें क्या टेक्निक होता है गुलेल यूज करने का. So when you provide some hands-on experience under your supervision, that will be an experiential learning how to use a particular implement or instrument or a tool. Now, when we talk about experiential learning, one example I have taken from CBSE. This is given by CBSE. Class 4 EVS reverse tail. एक चैप्टर है रिवर्स टेल. ये रिवर्स टेल का जिस्ट क्या है, किसके बारे में है? क्लास 4 EVS कौन पढ़ाते हैं?
सर वाटर पोल्यूशन.
Yes, water pollution. Right from when the river is born and up to when it goes to the sea, the journey is depicted there, and how the water is polluted due to different human activities, industrial activities is shown there. Now, if I want to make it experiential learning activity, I will be targeting some learning outcomes when I am planning a particular activity. My learning outcomes comprehend how important water is for living beings, explain the causes of water pollution and its impact on marine life, express and list views on ways to minimize water pollution, write article or a letter or journal for the school magazine, newsletter to highlight and sensitize people around. Now for this activity, experiential activity, I have taken 7 days as time, and yes, now my actual plan for this experiential activity begins. Checking the prior knowledge, that is nothing but motivating the children and eliciting some response in children to make them ready to the activity. Here, what we do, students will be divided into subgroups and they make a freeze frame on different uses of water. कुछ बच्चे कुछ acting करेंगे, the others will guess the type of water usage. कौन सा water, कौन सा use हो रहा है वहाँ पर, water का किस तरह से use हो रहा है, like watering a plant, drinking, washing clothes, whatever. A small preparatory activity. Then the facilitator can give the children the following topics on a small piece of paper. Next activity है pieces of paper में हम लिख के देंगे और इसको enact करने पर guess करना है how does water reach into the taps. Tap water finishes while taking a bath. ये situation अगर आती है तो किस तरह से वो respond करेंगे. Tap water finish हो गया है while taking bath. No water to cook food. अभी जो पहले हमने first activity में देखा है uses of water. Now second activity is focusing on if there is a scarcity of water, how the conditions will be. Break in supply of municipal water for 2 days. 2 दिन तक पानी नहीं आया है. These are the situation. Shower bath or bucket bath, whichever is preferable and why it is preferable. एक छोटी सी बहस होगी बच्चों में, कौन सी क्या लाइक करते हैं मगर क्या अच्छी बात है. Comparison between hose pipe wash and sponge wash to wash a car. Sponge use करके wash करें या hose pipe से बहुत सारा पानी उसमें use करें. So like this is just to prepare them for the actual experiential activity. Now, before starting my activity, I should be making some arrangements for the activity. Whatever activity I'm planning, whether it is feasible in the classroom or outside the classroom in the school compound, or it can be done at home. I have to study first, take students to visit the school water points to check water wastage. मुझे ये activity conduct करना है. Yes, Mamta madam, please.
सर इसी कंसेप्ट से रिलेटेड एक एक्टिविटी मैंने स्कूल में कराई थी जिसमें था हाउ टू स्टॉप वेस्टेज ऑफ वाटर. तो बच्चों को एक्टिविटी दी थी कि घर में जहाँ पे भी लीकिंग पाइप है या टैप अगर किसी के घर में है तो फर्स्ट दे हैव टू मेजर दैट ड्रिपिंग वाटर विद द हेल्प ऑफ मग. Then they have to pour the mug into the bucket and then they have to notice in a single day how much water is lost, and then they have to calculate it for the whole class, then for the school, and like this giving the bigger concept that by drops of water how much water we lose every day.
Yes. So this they have done at home and they have practically seen how much water is wasted and how, and they may be coming up with some solutions also. When they are going through this activity, they will be coming up with some solutions how to avoid or prevent wastage of water. And visit
Yes,
the national.
and the reaction of students, they were like this, man, we waste this much water, and then they were aware about the how to stop the wastage, and they asked their parents to get prepared the leaking where was the leaking pipe was there at their house. Or
Yes, they actually realize how much water is being wasted unknowingly at home for no purpose. And do role play, नुक्कड़ नाटक in the local community, ऐसे कुछ हमने प्लान किया है. तो इसके लिए feasibility क्या है पहले हमें स्टडी करना है. Resources required, some of the resources that are required for my activity. Now comes the actual activity. Here video showing glaciers 25 years ago and now. First we are starting with showing videos, but this is not actually experiential learning. Videos हम दिखा रहे हैं, उसके बारे में थोड़ा डिस्कस करेंगे to make children aware of water pollution and how glaciers are melting. Then comes sparking a debate between clarity of water in mountains and cities. जो mountains से water निकलता है किस तरह से purity होता है, और cities में पहुंचते पहुंचते जैसे दिल्ली में पहुंचते पहुंचते यमुना का क्या हालत हो जाता है. So this kind of discussion we have.
So in regarding this water pollution, we can take up an activity like we can tell them the tale of Ganga river, that when it is starting from Himalaya.
Yes.
We can ask them to collect some things like mud, some stones, some flowers, leaves, and we can make 5 children stand and 1 beaker of water. So when it is starting from Himalaya, the first child will be holding it. It is pure. The water is clearly visible.
Crystal
When it
clear.
goes to the second child, he will put something, so it becomes dirty. Thirdly, when it goes to the third child, he will mix something else. Again, it becomes dirty. And finally, when it reaches Kolkata, the last child, it will become very dirty. So it
Completely
will
opaque.
yeah, so it will make them understand the level of water pollution that is going in rivers from starting from the mountains and when they reach the city.
Yes, practically they come to know how during its journey,
Water pollution is
different
taking place.
different things are added
So,
mixed in it, and it becomes.
so
Yes,
we can also use the real life experiences of the child. Like there may be child in our class which belong to hilly areas, and the child which belong to the city. So when they explain the rivers, then the difference between their experiences is also helpful in their learning.
so students' experience also can be used as a resource. Students' experience, because we have that advantage of having children from different parts of the country. So their experiences we are using to build up on the concept. And now coming to the next stage of self-survey on personal consumption of water. जिस तरह से मैडम ने करवाया था, which kinds of consumption are there, drinking, bathing, washing clothes, and how much are they consuming individually for each activity. Then comes interviewing the grandparents, some questionnaire they will be having, consumption of water, how it has changed over years. Then they will be browsing something if class 5 children or 4 children and find out the water crisis that is water crisis at Cape Town. Why Cape Town is given? Chennai is also mentioned here. So global perspective also should be taken care of here. The child should be knowing about what happens in other countries in far off places also. Chennai water crisis. In Chennai, we have a lot of water crisis. In summer, they don't get water to drink. And from July, when it starts raining, it is water everywhere. People have to use boats to go to their office. So why this crisis? Why these extreme conditions in the city like metropolitan city like Chennai? So this discussion will take place, and finally they will make some posters and slogans on water conservation. So when you are providing a series of experiences to the child and drawing inferences after the activity is over, make a questionnaire in groups of 6 related to use of water, which kind of water filters learn. Now another critical thinking question is given for the children to discuss. Which kind of water filters wastage of water is more, and why is it so? Conducting a survey for recording of their observation by visiting 5 neighbors and make a smart chart. How many neighbors are using which kind of water filter and what is the water wastage? So now through this, after the actual activity also, they are going to have some inferences, and conceptualization takes place. When activity experiential learning is completed, conceptualization takes place. You can talk to the housekeeping staff in the school, arrange a session with the children and see and let them share how the water is being wasted different points by the children because the taps are not put off properly, and connecting this to the real life situation. Whatever activity we take up, whatever experiential learning activity we take up, ultimately when it is connected to the real life situation, the learning is concrete. It is long retained. So connecting to the real life situation, then extended learning. Connecting to real life situation और extended learning में क्या difference होता है? एक तो बच्चा रियल लाइफ सिचुएशन में कनेक्ट करता है उस एक्टिविटी को रियल लाइफ में क्या हो रहा है, देन एक्सटेंडेड लर्निंग क्या होता है उसका?
सर उसको लार्जर पर्सपेक्टिव में
Yes, and extended learning when the child is actually able to transfer his learning to a problematic situation. ममता मैडम आप भी कुछ बोल रही थी, बोलिए.
जी सर, मैं यही कह रही थी कि जब बच्चा लार्जेस्ट पर्सपेक्टिव में उसको सोचा है फ्रॉम कंट्री टू एक्सेप्ट लर्निंग, ही ट्राइज हाउ टू सॉल्व अ प्रॉब्लम, उसको वो यूज करने लगता है, तो तब हम मानते हैं कि ये
extended learning is completed now when the child is able to relate it to life. कुछ हद तक पूरी हो जाती है, मगर actual situation आता है, then if the child is able to do it. A simple example of experiential learning I give about swimming, learning swimming by a child. A child sits in the classroom or library, takes out a book and reads how to swim. That is one method. The child observes, goes to a pool, observes children or others trying to swim. That is another step forward. Or with the help of a coach, the child actually learns swimming. That is the third step. Which one is experiential in nature out of these three?
Third one.
Third one.
Third one, he will be swimming. He will be expert in swimming in the swimming pool. But actually, if there is a condition when the child encounters, he goes to some water body and unfortunately, if he falls in a water body, ये कौन सा कॉन्सेप्ट आ जाता है कनेक्टिंग टू रियल लाइफ है कि एक्सटेंडेड लर्निंग है ये
Extended learning.
रियल लाइफ सिचुएशन कभी कभी उसने फेस नहीं किया होगा और एक्सटेंडेड लर्निंग जब होती है इफ he is able to transfer that learning to a real life problematic situation, then we can say that the learning is complete in any kind of real situation. So that is why
जैसे ड्रिल भी कराते हैं कि if there is a fire, then how to act. If the snake bites, then how to act this way.
Yes, mock drill we do in it is mandatory. Every year we do mock drill, firefighting mock drill. It is also experiential learning. They actually vacate the school building. एक भी बच्चे को एक भी आदमी को वहाँ रहने नहीं देते हैं जो भी mock drill के लिए आते हैं because actual condition should be recreated there so that the children learn. वो क्लास में बैठे बैठे भी mock drill दिखाया जा सकता है उनको वीडियो में या उनके उसके बारे में डायरेक्टली वो फायर फाइटर्स आके बता सकते हैं बट when they are actually alarm is given, the emergency exits are marked and shown to children. And actually children come out in a line without a stampede outside the building into the open ground. That is nothing but experiential learning happens. They recreate the real life experience and extended learning when actually they prevent any loss of life in such conditions when they happen. So this is how experiential learning. Why we have taken up this experiential learning? Because it is this kind of learning is long retained, concrete, and NEP also says that experiential learning should be implemented at every stage of learning to make education much more purposeful. So this was about experiential learning. Hope the concept was revised, it was clear. Any doubts on this experiential learning?
No, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Now over to Rajesh, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. After the lunch break, the next session. So next from Guwahati region, I think.
Yes, Guwahati.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I, Deepika from Guwahati region, propose a vote of thanks to our training associate, Dr. Verma, sir, on behalf of all the participants. Sir began the session with an interesting quiz, which was really very encouraging. And he explained the holistic learning, what is about its characteristics. He elaborated all the components of experiential learning, the learn experiential cycle, and all the methods very beautifully. So through your session, we got to know a lot of things, and you have cleared all our doubts. Hope that we all will inculcate these experiential methods in our teaching learning practices daily. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So let us break for half an hour. Exactly at 3:30, we'll meet again. Okay.
Thank you, sir.